Good morning. Let's call the Rankin County Board of Supervisors meeting to order, December 15th, just a little bit after 9. At this time, could we have Mr. Craig Slay? Would you do our invocation for us, please?
Lord, we stop now before we get started to thank you for all the many blessings that you have given to us as a community. Father, thank you for these gentlemen that have sacrificed their time and their careers and their families, Lord, so that they might be in service to our community. I thank you, Father, for this time of year when we think about all of the ways that you have blessed us abundantly with the greatest gift of all, Father, your Son. Father, thank you for the privilege of service, and thank you for those who serve us consistently and constantly, those who protect us, those who fight for the cause of freedom. Father, I pray for them, for their protection, and I pray for their families, especially at this time. And Father, I pray that you will guide us, that you will hear from us today, and that we will be good and willing servants and stewards of the time you've given to us. Help us to serve our fellow man in Christ's name.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, at this time, there's no public comments or recognition at this time. We've got old business for minutes approval due November 26th and December 1st, 2014. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Keith. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Consent agenda items.
Motion to approve.
A motion by Mr. Johnson.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keith. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Ms. Judy Fortenberry.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have two more of those tax sale properties that matured to the state, and then the program released it and it went back through.
Right.
So we just need to void it and repay the purchaser.
Okay.
It's PIN number 48097 and 2734.
Okay.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Judy. John Sullivan. Good morning.
Morning. I have my regular two items. Petition to change the assessment of 2014 real and personal property assessments.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Johnson. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
All right, and item B, petition to adjust the 2014 homestead exemption supplement roll.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Bishop. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. This
And
time.
one not on the item
Right.
is our GIS that y'all purchased, and we're fixing to give you the, I guess most people call it a horse and pony show of what you purchased for Rankin County that's long overdue.
Right.
Jay has been working on it for how long?
I forget, man.
It's at least 12 years, but it's finally here. They're going to demonstrate exactly what this information will do and how it will benefit the county. As far as the information and data, fulfilling the contract, everything is here. We will not implement the training until probably the end of February, because we'll start homestead exemption January 1, and it will be pretty much impossible for my staff to basically wrap their heads around all of this while homestead exemption is going on, and it starts dying down, even though it goes until the end of March. We'll probably start end of February, 1st of March, to try to get everything done and to push this into each department to where everyone can utilize the information that we have. So here we go with Hayes.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm Jeff Cook with Tri-State Consulting, Hayes Lambert. I did want to correct the time frame. I think I heard 12 years. I've been in this business a long time, and I can tell you that we were pursuing Rankin County in efforts in the previous millennium, if that helps get the time frame correct. Very briefly, the project consisted of two distinct areas: your parcels ownership information, as well as an addressing database. To a lot of people, it's a map. We want to give you just a brief rundown. I was going to let Hayes explain this. and then show you a few things that you can now do with this, where you have intelligent information linked to land parcels. We've got a few queries and things, won't take up much of your time, but
Okay.
just wanted to hit the highlights and give you a sense of what's going on.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good
My name's
morning.
Hayes, and I'm with Tri-State. I presented this project to you a little over a year ago in its infancy stage, and now we're at the tail end, so here we are again. As Jeff mentioned, there's two main components to this project, the parcel information and the addressing. We're gonna hit on the parcels first. What we did was we took all the tax maps and all the source information from the assessor's office, John's office, surveys, 2013 aerial photos, acreages from the tax database, use all this source information, basically put together a puzzle. So what we did, we were, at the beginning, we had individual tax maps. What we have now is a county-wide seamless GIS layer. So bear with me a second, let this zoom out. My laptops will run a lot faster than this on the county, of course, county system, of course. But what I'm just gonna show you here is, we'll zoom in and you'll be able to see better, but I just wanted to show you, we now have a county-wide GIS parcel layer, which this is Rankin County in its entirety. Cut that off. This is $74,259 parcels. Now, once we have this seamless GIS layer, is what we call it, these parcels are now intelligent. I can identify any one of these parcels, and they're going to have a intelligent link to the tax database. So you can see, I click on this parcel, you've got owner name, you've got owner mailing address, you have building value, you have total value. Any of these individual layers or fields that are coming out of the tax database are now linked to this parcel. So these parcels are intelligent. With an intelligent parcel database, you can now run dozens of different queries and analysis on your county from an economic development perspective, or you so happen. So we have some built-in queries that we already designed for y'all, and just kind of show you the power of the system.
Several of these, the data we're talking about, we keep saying land roll, but need to stress, everyone's thinking needs to show any inventory, anything that you can associate to a parcel, even if it doesn't exist, can now be intelligently dealt with. Thank you. The first one we've run and just set up to show is location of all the buildings coded as a bank in Rankin County. Just let's see where they are.
Banks selected. You can see there's a swath of them right here. Right here, we zoom in.
That's the blue dots?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
We zoom in. Cut on the aerial imagery that y'all, this is the 2013 imagery that you had flown for you. And then just say we identify, now we can identify, that's Community Trust Bank.
Bank Plus.
Yep, Bank Plus. So that's a query on banks. Next one.
The apartment, multifamily units in the county. And these are just a few that, I think you can see it's limitless as this gets going on, what you can search and do, but these are some very basic searches.
Now, is this what I can do on the Rankin County viewer?
No, not yet. They haven't built in the query system into the viewer yet, as far as I know. We've asked them or talked to them about possibly adding that to the viewer. Right now, the viewer is just a view layer.
Okay.
So this was multifamily. There's apartment complex there, we can identify it, and the ownership and value and whatever you wanna know about it. Ashford Place LLC, total value, 1.2 million. And another query we have for you here.
For those that need this time of year to keep your car clean, I feel sure one of you wants to know where every car wash in the county is located, so let's see where those are located.
It'll be good for economic development, because they can then go through the county, we can do queries on parcels without improvements of, say, 20 acres to 40 acres. You know, if somebody in economic development is looking for something of some acreage.
Right.
You can go through now, and you can do a query of the county doing that without having to pull up a tax roll and, you know, try to figure out where the parcels are. This will do it for you automatically.
And then stemming to the other government entities, let's just say the sheriff's department, even though like registered sex offenders, they have to register and put an address, we can put them all on the map, or the sheriff's department can put those on the map and identify the exact location of where a registered sex offender is residing. And that's gonna tie into all the different departments, from economic development with Rankin First, to the sheriff's department, to the district attorney's office, and then any project that y'all may be working on, that you can put down. I mean, you can go into real estate companies. You wanna know every house in Rankin County that has a swimming pool. You can extract that information easy now, with that.
And all of our maps are fixed now, where they're all lined up where they're supposed to be, and
Yes.
Yes.
You do this on the air photography, it looks good.
And then, like we said before, it can be built on anything that you want. If you wanted to, maybe sell it to somebody like engineering service.
Thank you.
And let them provide you a fee, they could locate all the bridges in Rankin County that they're, working on. I mean, it's limitless. The power lines, the,
You can do
fire
proximities
hydrants.
in this too, you know, you can say, you know, I need a 40-acre tract that's within, you know, a half a mile of a railroad track.
Right.
Yeah, we're about to get into some of those as well. Like, so here's a car wash. Now I can, we'll skip some of those individual queries and go to, here's an interesting query on your build. This overhead projector doesn't do this the best justice, but we'll show you what it looks like.
Basically, on this, we went through and said, let's determine all the residences built in 1970, that year, 1980, 1990, 2000, 2010, and see where each of these are located.
So the green's 1970, yellow's 80, that color is 90, blue's 2000, red 2010. From this perspective, it's hard to.
yeah, that projection.
This overhead, you can't tell.
Once you zoom in, you can, you know, around Brandon and whatnot. We were trying to look for a pattern to present to you, but it looked rather evenly distributed, except for around the Brandon area where most of the development.
In case you're curious to see where all parcels in the county that are owned by out-of-state owners are located, I thought would be an interesting query to look at.
Like the Reservoir Overlay District, we can put in all the homes that are being rented, things like that. I mean, you can, the sky's the limit now to
Okay.
what you can do. I mean, we now have smart maps with the capability to extract any information that you want to put in.
To reiterate, I guess, what Mr. Keith was asking, this is more governmental, I guess, run at
Well,
this time.
At this time, yes, because we're in the beginning stages of it, but it is something that's in y'all's hands now. If you wanted to sell this information to entities to recoup some of your money,
Right.
you could sell it to, I mean, to engineers, to developers, to anyone you wanted, municipalities, just anything that y'all wanted to do. And that's something that we can definitely address, that if by chance, Mr. Keith, if you wanted it on the internet for everybody to have for themselves and to do their, it's just gonna be a decision up to y'all of who you would like to have this information and a fee associated with it.
Can
One
you-
thing about the internet at this point is making live data.
Right,
You know, number one, our tax roll is a year behind.
right,
So whatever they're looking at is probably gonna be associated with last year's tax roll and not up to date.
The up to
because
date.
That's not approved.
So can you limit access to what you want I guess, the public to have, or how do
Well,
you?
know, CMPDD is now running our website.
Correct.
Our viewer. And typically what we do at CMPDD is we just give them a file with static data at that time. So we would probably write them a file out once a year, a static file that they would upload into that viewer system, and everybody would be looking at that, you know, last year's tax roll data, which is, you know, where you go anywhere on the internet, it's what you're gonna see, because we don't put live rolls out there.
Right,
So they would get an update once a year, and then that would be that year before data out there.
How quickly would we want this updated?
We update this, you know, we'll update this on a daily basis.
Daily?
When we say we're a year behind, we'll present the roll,
Right.
and we have a future, present roll. We have 3 rolls out there. So we have one that we're working on a daily basis. When the deeds are filed in Larry's office, the next day we'll get the deeds, and we have the current roll. The roll that we would put out there is a year behind. It's not that we're a year behind, it's the dole that's already been established for the prior year. It's just, we work a year in arrears. If that makes any sense.
So really, we could do a lot more now that we have this.
Right.
We were handcuffed before. I mean, we can even go as far as putting our roads on there, our
Yes.
road plan on there, high hazard dams, you name it, we can.
We can put as much data out there now on the viewer as you want to put on.
right.
Yeah.
You know, just depending on what people wanna see, or, you know, I was asked the other day, do we have contours out there? I said, no, but we can have.
Yeah.
You know, people wanna see contour lines on top of aerophotography, you know, not a problem. You know, it's just gotta be approved by you guys before it gets put out there, so that we know that it's, you know, it's good.
Okay.
And the main thing, it's sorry for us to put stuff out there, but we want it to be easy to load and understand for the operator.
Right,
you know,
user friendly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But thank y'all for doing this for us. Looks good.
Does look good.
And that's gonna, also, I guess that's gonna help tremendously with the 911.
Most definitely.
That's one of the biggest key, I guess.
Yeah, and with this, because of the way they've done this.
Right.
With placing a point address on every structure in the county.
Right,
Not only can we find those structures, but we find out of sequence, which we have a lot of.
right,
see this address, it ends at such and such. You know, we can now look at this and tell them, well, you got to go, you know, you got to come back 4 houses from where you're at because that is out of sequence. And we've got a lot of out of sequence addresses in the county.
So I guess,
If you can, I don't know if you can see this or not, but the little red dots, are actually.
Zoom in a little more.
Yeah, so like, for instance, right here, that little red dot that's the address structure on that parcel. And so we did a 100%, countywide field verification to, you know, a lot of times you'll have 5 buildings, well, what's the address structure? Where's the 911 call
Right.
coming from? So we, you know, got those all mapped out, and now, in this case, if a 911 call was coming from 849 Poplar Springs Road, it would look something like this to the dispatcher. This would be all automated, of course. 911 call comes in, and then this point lights up on their map, and now the dispatcher now she's using a map to dispatch the emergency service.
gotcha, so that's just gonna pop right up on their screen
Yes,
then,
sir.
would actually pop
Yeah.
right up, and she wouldn't have to go through the different,
Correct.
okay.
Correct.
How
And
much
if it's
trouble would
if
it
it's
be
a
to-
wireless call, it just plots according to lat long.
Okay.
So all your base layers, including parcel lines, anything that Lance makes available to those folks, they have now at their fingertips.
So that's gonna help as far as, dispatch, as far, when they dispatch, then that should help as far as, them getting to, say it's SO, AMR, fire department, whoever, response time should be quicker because of the lack of, you know, and like you said, sequence sometimes is.
Maybe not quicker, but it's going to pinpoint the location that they need to be at.
Right, because I know we've had in the
A more
past, you know,
accurate
where,
location.
right, we've had them go past or whatever because the people have not, you know, maybe didn't have their markings right or
There's a
something
lot
like
of
that.
markings that are not out there.
Correct.
They found that out during field verification.
Okay.
There's a lot of markings that are just not there.
Well, that's why I kind of highlighted this rural piece right here. I mean, if there's a call, say it's a deer hunter right here in the woods, you know, calls out of stand, calls 911, without a map showing you, it's gonna be hard to tell that response vehicle where to access that.
Right.
That area. So now they have that ability.
Okay,
Well, the other issue you're looking at now as well, it doesn't have to be dispatched and take notes. Mobile units are cheap enough, whereas they're driving, they can see in real time exactly where they're at, what address they're in front of.
Well, I think our current sheriff's department uses mapping, but I don't know if they necessarily use your mapping.
Now, right now, they're using, a second system.
So how would we interface our up-to-date information with what our current mapping system is? That's all proprietary stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, they're using PTS at the moment, and that's what we're talking with PTS now, trying to figure out what the best route is to be able to
Okay.
integrate our data into their software.
All right,
okay,
okay.
all right. Any more questions? Man, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, this time we have, Mr. Dale Westbrooks, road manager. Y'all have a good day.
This morning, I'm back for the discussion and potential action on the road manager software for the unit system. We've discussed this, several times. And we keep coming back to the original, company that we presented to you all. I met with the net folks that you sent, a couple of weeks ago. You
Right.
called me.
Right,
Ms. Laura and I did, and they looked at it, and they wouldn't even attempt to touch it, not for what we needed, it would be an enormous amount for somebody like that to come
Right.
out. And they said off the shelf was probably the best way to go.
and these people already have off the shelf already,
Yes,
everything
it's-
ready
and
to go.
that's, the City Tech that we recommended, they're used in state uses them. State of Mississippi and 8 or 10 counties in the state already have it, using it. We looked at some other companies and they all come back to about the same, price. They look good up front, look cheap, but they're just not when you get all the bells and whistles that you need to kind of get the thing up and running, for what we think we need.
Okay. Craig, have you looked at that, somewhat?
I've only been peripherally involved. I haven't actually, we hadn't gotten to a stage where there's
A need.
contract or whatever, so.
Right.
There's really not been anything for me to do.
And this is all on this particular company's on state contract, it's already all the,
Already
all the.
been certified and everything, okay. So you feel comfortable with it being user-friendly as far as you
Yes,
guys been
yes,
able to use this?
And the work order part, I've went over that and looked at it again, and I think it is. They also, they kinda threw an incentive, if we go ahead and do something before the first of the year, they cut about $1,500 off the link from the website to so that you could go on the website and link on to our system and put in the work order, which is something you all had, I thought y'all wanted.
Right.
We wanna try it at the very least. So that's kinda where we are, and we keep coming back to this same company, every time we go out and go back to all these people, we keep coming back to these same group of folks. It seems to be, what we think we want, and talking to everybody else, this is what they say we probably, one that would be best suited for.
Right. If we did this, how long would it take to, get you guys and completely trained and ready to go as far as implementing something like this?
Looking at probably 90 days just to get it up, and, to kinda get started.
Right.
It's gonna take, it'll take my guys a while to just get used to.
And would that
We're
be
gonna
the-
have to go from paper, they're still gonna be on the paper. I mean,
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah,
And then I'll have to transfer that paper information to electronic information to go into this system. And I think we can do that. Just gonna take a little time and kinda retraining people. We're not used, my guys are not used to having to provide as much information as they probably have to provide now, but we'll work through it.
right.
Okay. You got somebody lined up that's gonna know how to work it, or
Well, they'll do the training, but yeah, I think I've got.
you
hope
got
I've
somebody, okay.
Yeah, I hope I've got everything.
Is
worked
somebody
out.
already in-house?
No, I'll have to put on somebody for this. Laura and I have talked about it, it's just about gonna have to be, somebody down at the barn to get this information from my road guys, my maintenance foreman, then to change it over to the electronic.
What will it do as far as coming through the girls up front?
They'll still have all the work order stuff, take all the phone calls, because this is gonna be more than just work orders, and maybe that's
Right.
where, this is all the shop information that we don't keep up with, we'll start keeping up with all the vehicles. All that has to go
Inventory,
through this
all
program.
kind of stuff.
Yes.
Okay.
Plus all the sign, like with the new regs, and you sign inventory regs, it's gotta come up, all that'll have to come through. And it'll all have to be transferred, like I said, so that, it's gonna be just has to be someone there to get that information changed over, and they need to be readily available to the guys that are out in the field doing it.
Right, okay. What was the total price on that? Mr.
It was
Dowdy?
$38,000 was the estimate. Now, that's not to exceed, so to speak. The fellow I talked to that's handling this, he had added what he said was plenty. They charge you actually by what they use, the time and resources that they have to use, so it's kind of on a not to exceed. It should come under it, was what he's telling me. And that's all I can tell y'all, what he's telling me.
Now, is that a one-time
Yes,
fee then?
one time. And then you have about $3,000 or $4,000 a year maintenance fee
Maintenance.
that everything has.
Right.
Everything we've looked at's got that same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Jay, what do you think?
Man, I hadn't seen nothing, so, it's hard for me to
Right.
have an opinion.
Okay. Is there any possible way that we could, have them come in and give us somewhat of a demonstration at Alldale on something like that?
Yeah, I suppose it could. I'm sure it'd be after the first of the year.
Yeah, after the first year, I think that'd be wonderful. That way we can kind of see, kind of like with GIS, I think that it'd be a wonderful tool. It's just, if we can see something more tangible on the screen, I think that would help us to understand a little bit more about it. So,
All right.
does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah, I think it's something we're gonna have to just we're gonna have to go ahead and do.
Yeah.
You wanna look at it a little more. Sounds like they've done
All their homework
all
and
the
everything.
research and homework.
Right.
I mean, really, I guess coming in and showing us was kind of generic. I think in the end, we're gonna wind up with it anyway.
Right.
Because it sounds like Laura and Dale have pretty much done everything we've asked as far as looking through, looking over, researching others.
Right.
Dale's talked to other counties, other, you know, road managers and everything, so if y'all wanna look at it, fine, but I don't know, I'm almost ready to go ahead and just do something, cause I think it's inevitable we're gonna do it. I mean, what do y'all think? I mean, if you wanna.
And if we wait to look at it, we're gonna pass on the $1,500.
That's true, we would pass on that, wouldn't we?
I mean, that's a small amount, but it is a savings, but like I said, it sounds like they've covered everything. We're kind of, I know we're kicking it around because of the cost and because of the, additional, personnel he'll have to operate it, to be trained to operate it, so we keep kicking it around, but, and that's why, but that's, you know, in the end, it's still gonna happen.
Right.
I mean, pretty much gonna happen, you can tell that.
Well, to stay up with the, everything we've got going in Rankin County, I mean, it's like you said, it's almost inevitable. We've gotta do some things to.
We've grown to that point, it looks like, and if, I guess, maybe sounds like maybe a little behind on some of it. So you said some of the other counties have been involved in, or using something like this for some
Yeah.
time,
Well, yeah,
to be more efficient.
yeah, this particular program is used by some 8 or 10, and you've got 4 or 5 more that are potential that they're looking at it real close, but some, even, I don't know how many of the other counties, but a large majority of them have some type of program where
Right.
they keep up with their, what they do to their roads and
Right.
kind of a road management program, which we don't have. You know, all ours is paper and
But that's what I'm
accessing
saying, not necessarily
information is
this,
just impossible.
not necessarily this program, but they have gone to,
Yeah, a
some
program
type
of
of
some
program.
sort, yes, yes.
I guess, as large as we are, or maybe we are a little behind, maybe.
This
jumped
was
in there.
designed for the state. They spent a lot of money having this designed for them. MDOT uses it and, several other state agencies. And that's why they've paid the bulk of getting the system established, so they're being able to offer it, of course, to counties at a lesser amount. I know Harrison uses it. We've talked to several counties that do. We've talked to several counties that have a different one that they're ready to get rid of. It doesn't do what they want completely. This one, and I can't even tell you how this works, but this one has a feature built in it that when he has all the components of his, the payroll and his equipment and all, should we have another FEMA or MEMA disaster, it pulls all that into the format that they require for reimbursement.
So it automatically, right. Good.
Right, and
Which
so,
is-
it's got several components. It's got the work order feature, and every one of them integrates. So like, you know, if you have your equipment out there and how much it takes per hour to operate that, and you have your operators, and it doesn't replace the payroll system we have, but it has their hourly rate of the guys in there. It pulls all that in, that you've used this piece of equipment, these men have worked on it, this is their rate. And-
Which we've used that, you know, and I can speak for myself, we've used that time and time again whenever we do entities as such as, you know, helping out the schools or things like that, you know, so we've got to know, you know, kind of what we are doing as far as, you know, for the taxpayers to understand what the money we're spending on. So if that'll help, I mean, because otherwise you got to go back and retrace all the, you know, man hours and
And
the use.
most of the time that's impossible after
Right.
it gets past any 30, 60 days.
Yes.
It's went to the vault, and then just the time, you know, it takes to go through just to even look up a work order now.
Right.
I looked for one, had the lady look for one that was about a month, 2 months old, and they worked on it about 6, 8 hours before they finally.
And I'm sure all of us are the same way, you know, you put a piece of paper down and it's supposed to be right there, but someone has moved it.
With all
So
this discussion, don't you, really, you wanna keep waiting, you just wanna
I,
move
I think I'm good with you, I'm like you, so
on?
I
I'm
think
good with
that-
you too.
So, I'll, entertain a motion on this.
I make a motion to add this, we need to add it to the agenda?
Now, we
No,
can go ahead,
it's
it's already at a potential action.
Okay. I make the motion to approve this, software, the system that
You-
we've been looking at for the road department.
Do we need to make it contingent on, you looking over the contracts at all or not?
Well, obviously, we're not in any kind of agreement with them just yet.
Okay.
You go ahead and authorize it, and we'll start the process. If it's different from what you've heard,
Okay.
then obviously we'll check up before we execute anything.
Well,
Okay.
just read the fine print.
And get
Okay.
Walter's discount.
That, yeah, that's,
Just go ahead and authorize us to move into the contract, but we're not gonna execute the contract until I'm satisfied with what they said.
All right. Okay, so I got a motion by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign.
Nay.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dale. Mr. Charles Parker.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Two items on the agenda. The first one is our Old Fannin Road reconstruction project. I'm recommending approval of pay request number 24 to Southern Rock LLC in the amount of $960,000.43 and requesting authority to issue that check.
so move.
Got a motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Keith. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you. Second item I have on the agenda is our Old Highway 49 drainage improvements project. This morning I'm recommending approval of pay request number 5 to Thornton Construction Incorporated in the amount of $216,255.58 and requesting authority to issue that check.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Johnson. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Craig Slade, Board Attorney.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The first item on the agenda is a public hearing set for today, December the 15th, for the Edward Hutton dimensional variance request. It's a Holly Bush Road property in District 4. Mr. Hutton is requesting a dimensional variance for a 13.6 acre parcel that is located just off of Holly Bush Road. The property is zoned RE1. RE1 zoning requires a minimum 100-foot lot width frontage. Mr. Hutton's lot has we call it a flag lot. It has a 25-foot private drive, and so the frontage, the technical frontage is 25 feet. 3 other property owners have already bought lots and applied for a dimensional variance back in October of 2013, and those variance requests were approved. At that time, those lot owners executed a restrictive covenant document that provides that the access ways will be a private drive and cannot be converted to any public use unless and until that drive is made up to county specifications. That's what is being proposed for this particular lot as well. This is the last lot that is being sold on this area of property. There are no other properties that are available, so this would be the last private drive there. If the dimensional variance is approved, Mr. Hutton will be required to sign the same restrictive covenant document that will state that the private drive will remain private until it is brought up to county specifications. This time we'll open that public hearing. I'll ask if there's anyone here to speak in opposition to the Edward Hutton dimensional variance request. Anyone? Mr. President, I don't see anyone. We'll close that public hearing. At this time, it'll be appropriate to take action.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Johnson, second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, there's a series of items, B, C, D, E, and F, that are sort of all the same package. They relate to the Spectrum Bloomfield LLC TIF bonds. And so at this time, I've asked our bond counsel, Mr. Bourgeois, to come forward. Items B, C, D. Mr. Lucian, do you want to take E? Okay. And then we'll do F and G later. Items, Mr. President, items B, C, D, and E. If I may, just very briefly, what we are doing is we are preparing to adopt a resolution. Item E is kind of the ultimate resolution that is effective to move the process forward. Items B, C, and D, I would characterize as some, an exercise of caution to clean up some of the documentation from the past. This is a process that began, if you recall, all the way back in '08, I think it is. And there have been a number of actions taken by the board through time from '08 that relate to the Bloomfield project. And there are a lot of documents associated with those activities. At times, there have been occasions where exhibits to particular board actions are in place, but they are not executed for whatever reason. Maybe the other side didn't execute it. And so there is, out of an abundance of caution, an effort is being made to go back and clean up the minutes so that documents that were referred to in the past actually match up with the documents that are referenced in the actions taken for the board. So that's what nunc pro tunc means now for then. It's a Latin phrase. And so when you see a board order that allows for us, nunc pro tunc, to approve prior actions or to clean up the minutes, that's what that is. We're just an exercise of caution. When we have all these documents now that will relate to activity of the board today, then we'll be able to find those documents tied to a specific date. So the documents will be signed and entered and moved through our minutes in such a way that they'll be tied back to this specific action. And so it'll be a lot easier in the future. Instead of going back through 6 years worth of stuff, it'll all just be right there, tied to December 15, 2014. Did I get that covered pretty close? Okay, so it's just an exercise of caution to clean up the record, as it were. All right, so items B, C, and D, unless you have any questions, these relate to cleaning up the documentation and adopting a resolution. Item E, adopting a resolution that authorizes and approves an amendment to the bond resolution that was passed on the 17th of this year, of November of this year, in connection with the sale and issuance of TIF bonds not to exceed $4.65 million. As you know, this is to reimburse the developer pursuant to an agreement that has already been entered into by this board that calls for up to $11 million in TIF bonds to be awarded. Why is it not $11 million? Well, number one, they didn't spend $11 million on infrastructure improvement. Number two, the ad valorem tax increment will not support a reimbursement in that amount. It will support a reimbursement presently of $4.65 million. That's what your assessor told you, and that's what you're being required to issue. If they don't hit the requirements, you don't have to issue $11 million worth of bonds. So we're issuing what the tax increment will allow, and we will not ever issue more than they can certify to us they have actually spent out there.
So
Okay.
John, just to kind of clear it up, they will be able to pay back as far as the 4.65 million. I mean, as far as gotcha. Right now.
Today, yes.
Thank you.
I don't think your assessor wants to certify that.
That's okay. In today's economy, he's like.
Yes, sir. That's correct. He's certifying the taxes today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But I don't do taxes, y'all do taxes.
Mr. President, unless there are any other questions, what we would suggest is a motion on items B, C, and D, and E in the aggregate.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? Let me ask you, on cleaning up all the documents and everything else, what happens if one of the entities does not, and I'm just throwing out precaution, I guess, what if one of the entities does not come to the table and sign?
We have signed documents.
Okay.
All of the documents that have been approved, every
Right.
single one of them have all of the required signatures.
Okay.
What may have happened is they would have come in beyond the date that we have as a cutoff to get them into the minutes that's
Okay.
defined to a particular date. So they went in a next series of minutes. They're in the minutes, They're just not right behind the action.
Okay.
This is a true exercise in caution.
Gotcha.
Everything that you are approving today is in the minutes and fully signed.
Okay. Makes me feel better.
So, basically, we're just approving, we don't have an option, it's not really an option of not approving it, it's just now that you've cleaned it up.
Yes, sir.
I guess you say, it's basically been approved, just was
Yeah,
not
if I
cleaned
can-
up.
If I could stress that items B, C, and D are, they're purely cleaning up the record to get them in sequence and to get them
Right.
on a date certain that we don't have to hunt back through the documentation and try to locate and find, okay? We're getting them all lined up on an official date, and we're doing it effective on the dates that goes back in time when they were first approved.
Right.
All right, so we're just cleaning up the record. Item E, Jared, goes to your question, and the answer is, we have a development agreement that has been executed by this board on behalf of the county that says if they meet certain requirements, the following actions will take place.
Okay.
So the short answer is yes, sir.
So we got a motion and a second, so we just need to vote on it.
Yeah, we have any more questions?
No.
All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Item F, this one is so easy to explain that I'm gonna let Mr. Lucian take care of that.
Well, look, you did a great job on the hard stuff, man.
That's good.
When the bonds are closed, there's a paying agency, and Trustmark National Bank will be the paying agency for the county. So when the payments come due, you will send the payments to Trustmark. They have a $2,000 acceptance fee. And you're approving that acceptance fee, but you only pay it if the bond's closed, which we anticipate we will close before Christmas, but if it doesn't, you don't pay that money. It's just, it will come out of the bond proceeds.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Item G, I'll quickly step back in since I have seen the documents that reference this. On the 17th of November, we received a requisition certificate that had been prepared by the developer. This is required under the development agreement. They have to complete a document that lays out for the county the infrastructure improvements that they have made on that property. They have to list it by item, and they have to come up with a total. That requisition certificate listed improvements that totaled $8.611 million. Apparently, somebody got a sharper pencil out, and what has been provided now is an updated requisition certificate that shows that the actual amount is, instead of 8.611, you see it listed here, 8.373. My assumption would be that they discovered that some of the items that were listed did not actually relate to infrastructure improvements that would qualify for reimbursement. So this is an amended requisition certificate that shows that the total amount is 8.373. You are not approving the expenditure of these monies. This is nothing more than a restatement of the amount that they claim that they would be eligible for reimbursement if the tax increment could support that.
Gotcha.
Okay? So we're simply acknowledging and receiving that redemption certificate.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bishop.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keith. Any more questions?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I do actually.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And they don't get another lick at this once we do the bonds. We're
No,
done,
no, sir.
right?
No, sir. They may be eligible. There's a period of, what, 10 years?
2020, they can issue you can issue additional bonds up until 2021, November of 2021.
And how much would the value of the property have to go up in order for them to do that? I mean, it would have to be substantial, wouldn't it?
They've got 25 acres undeveloped that could fill up, and whatever that generates, you know.
Basically, the difference between the 4.6 and 11 million.
Yeah.
Is what they can come back and ask for.
Yeah.
Until 2024.
Okay.
Let me suggest that unless they spend more than 8.373 on infrastructure improvements,
Yeah.
that 8.373 is the actual outlet. That's the
outside
cap.
number that they would be eligible for a TIF bond to be issued up to.
So, in developing for the future outlet parcels, the infrastructure that has to be put in for that will not apply.
It could, if it's eligible under state law and/or federal law. And again, up to the maximum of 11 million.
Right.
Is what you originally agreed to do.
Okay.
But the bonds would have to be able to service that,
That's
whatever they
right.
put in.
You still have to have the tax increment that would service
Correct.
whatever amount that it ends up being.
Okay,
Feel quite certain that it will be requested sometime in the near future.
Yeah.
right.
I just wanna be prepared for that.
I hope I'm going about
Well, that's why we depend on you to see if we could service
I
those
don't think
bonds,
you
John.
hope that hard, though.
All right. Any more questions? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, Lucian.
If I may, Mr. President, I have one item that I would like to add to the agenda. If you probably don't have your November 17th minutes in front of you, but at that time, we set a public hearing for the Rankin County Stormwater Management Program. We feel like we ought to have that hearing since we noticed it for today at this time. And so if I may, I appreciate a motion to add the public hearing for the Stormwater Management Program to this section of the agenda.
Okay, do I have a motion to add this item to the agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, with your permission, we will open a public hearing on the Rankin County Stormwater Management Program. At this time, I'll ask if there's anyone to speak on the matter of the Rankin County Stormwater Management Program. Anyone? Mr. President, I don't see anyone. We will close that public hearing, and you have complied with your requirements. Thank you. They need to adopt it.
So we don't have to take any action on that?
There's no other action, we just needed to conduct the hearing. itself.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you. Ms. Laura Oster?
I only have one item this morning, hopefully it will be quick. This is a approval of an amended holiday declaration. The governor sent out a while back, the additional day as being Christmas Eve, and then the offices would be open on Friday. I think he caught a lot of flack from that because nobody wanted to come back for one day for
Right.
Friday. So he has given the board the option of either Wednesday or Friday. Previously, we said we would take the additional day as Christmas Eve Wednesday. So y'all now have the
Wait, we said Wednesday?
Wednesday. Christmas Eve was the day.
Yeah, but I thought we said Friday. I think Friday would be a
Yeah,
lot
but
better.
pro-
He didn't give
Proclamation.
us, he didn't
Oh,
give
oh,
us
he did,
Friday
so-
in the
okay,
original
okay,
proclamation.
okay.
It's Christmas Day, and he had done the additional day as Wednesday, Christmas Eve. That is what we adopted.
Okay.
Now he's come back and said you may either take Wednesday or Friday by order of the board.
Would
So
you
by the
think
pro-
Friday would be the best? I think majority would kinda
That's-
think
I make a
Friday.
motion to approve the amended declaration.
I think
Friday.
Friday.
Motion
Come
by,
back for one day.
motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Johnson. Questions? Just to reiterate, Craig, I just wanna make sure to get it on the minutes that we actually don't have the authority, just the governor, whenever they set that proclamation, correct? As far as Wednesdays or Fridays or whatever, so we didn't have a choice on that, right?
Correct.
Until they gave us the proclamation to
That's
say
correct.
either or.
That's correct.
Okay. That way the employees did realize we didn't have a choice on that till he gave us that authority.
Your only option anyway is to either allow the additional day or don't allow the additional day.
Correct. Gotcha. So now we have the authority to be able, okay.
I
Any-
don't think we have to adopt the state's holiday schedule, do we?
No, you don't have to allow the additional day. You can just take the federal holiday, Christmas. But he
No, I mean,
gives you
when
an
he sends out
option.
the declaration at the beginning of the year spelling out the holidays for the entire year, do we
No.
have to adopt that?
No, he does
It-
it by each individual holiday.
In our handbook, we have the set days that are federal holidays that we get, and then every year, the governor does a proclamation that allows an additional day at Thanksgiving, an additional day at Christmas, and sometimes an additional day on New Year's.
My recollection is that our policy says we track
The state holiday.
the state holidays, correct, which is proclamated by the governor. Gotcha. Okay.
But he doesn't issue these proclamations till right before those holidays. He doesn't issue a standard proclamation.
Well, Laura, if you wanna come back and work Friday, you can.
Okay, so
It
it's
won't be on
cleared up
Wednesday, so it doesn't
that it
matter.
will be, it is now cleared up, then it will be Thursday and Friday. Gotcha. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
I need an executive session for personnel.
Okay,
And potential litigation.
all right.
I'll make a motion to, discuss the need to go in executive session, discuss personnel and litigation.
Motion by Mr. Johnson,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Any questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you, guys. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
I kinda had a feeling that's why I said
Mr. Jared?
How you doing?
Shake y'all's hand.
Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas.
What happened to Bobby? Bobby was sitting out there for a minute.
Well, it's Bobby running for supervisor. I wasn't quite here. I didn't see anything on the city of Rankin. He's an alderman, huh? I didn't see any city of Rankin. Man, the dude went one election, he wants to run for everything.
Who's this?
They can't do both, can they? Yeah, I was gonna say, that would be really kind
That's what I think's kinda bad. They can have a cake and eat it too.
What does alderman pay? I'm just curious. Not that y'all do it for money, I know, but from
12 to 16.
I'm just curious. I never had any idea. Well, he and Harry both kind of knew it well. Just see, been a few times. Bobby's first time, though, right? And he beat Mr. Lyon, right? Yes. Hey, I saw your pretty face and it reminded me that I'm sure Harry emailed you too. Thank you.
This was his second time. He's in his second term.
And I should have sent you something as soon as I got back.
He was considered not running last time. Everybody wants my seat. Here.
There's a few out there, Warren.
I didn't see nobody.
Like I said, we need you back, so.
Well, I'll tell you what's my wisdom.
be a meal and everything, and then Christmas Day is quiet day.
Tuesday off too.
Yeah, we do our, well, not to do it,
It's been an issue for me.
Finish it, but we do our whole big thing
Wednesday.
on Wednesday.
Yeah, I tell you, it really makes Christmas not so fun.
You would think that they would
Because
put it on there.
especially when you got exes, and the kids gotta go there and there, and it's good.
Do what?
Yeah, one of my sons says that they're with us, they're with you
What
on
you want?
Christmas Eve, and after we do everything
I just
later
want
that
some
night,
more grass.
he has to get
I'm
them.
tired of cutting my
Right,
grass.
others, yeah.
Was it doing it touch a year?
The rest of us, our Christmas days.
What happened when you touched it?
It's not as bad on the parents as it is for the kids,
I
you
know,
know,
I
so.
know.
Every time mine touches my ear, it goes on mute. Or
See you later, sir.
something. I can't put something on it.
Alright.
Is yours sensitive like that?
Just working
Oh, that's
good
right,
for
we-
them. Just working good for them.
It is.
About this thing. I leave mine on silent all the time. I don't guess they do. Sometimes.
To each its own.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Hey, sometimes this thing right here means more to me than anything. I can actually see this.
You can actually read it?
That if I
Right.
touch the wrong button, I might go.
You- Well, that's a good point. I've been known to hit the wrong button a lot too, boy.
I might be calling you somebody you don't even wanna be calling.
Right, it's hot, yeah.
Wouldn't bother me one, well, it might, it depends on who sometimes.
All right, Carl.
What's today? Oh, you hit the nail, man.
Hey, Tom, I saw you perk up when you said we can, have some acreages available.
Well, you saw me go up to Lance, and I
Yeah.
said, can we put railroads and 4-lane roads? I mean, I know they're, but I
Yeah.
mean, so they can pull up a criteria on the rail, 4-lane road, within 6
Sky's the
miles of the
limit.
interstate.
Yeah.
He said, yeah, once y'all authorize that to be okay, so.
Yeah.
I'll probably come back and ask y'all to authorize.
All right.
Sky's the limit.
Thank y'all.
Yeah.
See y'all.
Sheriff, you know something we don't know?
No, he's trying to update holidays.
My matter is a landowner, or a user of land who's gotten some permissions in the zoning, process to use their land is now violating the restrictions that the board put on the land use. And essentially it's turned into an illegal dump site that DEQ is monitoring. And because of it, we've had some initial
Yep.
discussions.
I've heard
Yeah.
about that.
Heard about it.
We went to the Justice Court, one of the Justice Court judges with a hypothetical, and the
Right.
Justice Court judge suggested, that it would be a waste of time to bring the matter before the Justice Court. They
Yep.
have limited power, the Justice Court judges do. They can't do certain things that really need to be done to address this. And so I'm gonna be talking to you, I've already talked enough about it now to justify the litigation. I
Okay.
mean, we're looking at litigation.
Okay.
And my personnel item, I almost went to the closet and got my broom for this. It's the horse barn. I was going to write in on it, satisfy Walter there, but I didn't go get it. Anyway, I need to talk to y'all about that.
Alright.
Do I have a motion to go into executive session to discuss these matters?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Morrison,
Second.
second by Mr. Bishop. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. We're in executive session.